everyone, welcome back to a new video. So in this video we will learn about the paper industry of India and the issues that are faced by the paper mills of Assam. Okay, see, the APSC has officially released the model papers and the syllabus according to which the next exam will be conducted, right? So unlike the earlier pattern, the newer pattern demands for an integrated approach preparation. That means আমি প্ৰিলিমছ মেইনছ আৰু ইণ্টাৰভিউ এই তিনিটা ষ্টেজতে একেটা প্ৰিপাৰেশ্যনে কৰিব লাগিব ৰাইট অ'কে এতিয়া যদি আমি মেইনছৰ চিলেবাছটো চাওঁ তাৰে যোনখন GS পেপাৰ তাৰ আণ্ডাৰত টোটেল 5খন পেপাৰ আছে অ'কে ইট ইজ GS পেপাৰ 1 GS পেপাৰ 2 দেন 3 GS পেপাৰ 4 and GS পেপাৰ 5 now এই যোনখন GS পেপাৰ 5 this is purely based on Assam. Okay, so the topic that we'll discuss today will come under this GS paper 5. Okay, if we look into the syllabus of the GS paper 5, okay, that our section under geography of Assam, that is the major industries. Okay, major industries will topic so the topic that we'll discuss today will fall under this subtopic. Okay. See, we know that on the basis of the sources of raw materials, industries are classified as agro-based industries. Okay, so these type of industries use their raw materials from the agricultural products, for example, the sugar, coffee, tea, edible oil, etc. Right? Then there are industries that are based on the minerals. Okay, so mineral-based raw material industries include the iron and steel industries, cement industries. Okay, again there are chemical industries which raw materials are dependent on the chemical products. Right? So as a large proportion of the basic raw materials in the paper industry is derived from the forest, so this paper industry is basically a forest based industry, right? So this is important from the prelims point of view. Okay, directly question will come that paper industry falls under which of the following categories of the industry based on its raw materials. Okay, now talking about the raw materials, ami sabo lagibo je paper industry basically kunkhini. So the first important raw material is the bamboo. Okay, so bamboo is produced in the states like Assam, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Maharashtra. Now the reason why bamboo is used as an important raw material is because this bamboo possesses long fibers. Now these long fibers are very much necessary to produce a good quality of paper. Apart from that, this bamboo is quickly regenerated. Tar mane jun amar bah gojjupa ejupa hunkale ako ulayu ba ako hunkale grow hoy, right? The next important raw material is the savai grass. Now this savai grass was the sole raw material before the introduction of bamboo, right? But the main disadvantage of this savai grass is that it grows in tubs intermixed with other vegetations. Tar mane ei junjupa savai grass hoy ei grass jupa individually grow nohoy. Ei grass jupa grow hoy beleg junkhini usor pajor থকা ভেজিটেশনৰ লগত intermix hoy grow hoy. Okay, therefore it is difficult to separate the impurities from it. Apart from that, its supplies are much less than those of bamboo. Okay, so in bamboo we have seen that these bamboos are quickly regenerated, but in comparison to that this is not true for the savai grass, as well as their production in the states is not as equal to the bamboos. Okay, so it only grows in the sub-Himalayan tracts of the Shivaliks and the Tarai area. The other raw material is the bagasse. So this bagasse is the fibrous residue of the sugarcane stalk. Tar mane ki hoy jetia kuhiar pura rock to uliai dia jay tar juntu remaining residue hoy hetuke bagasse hisabe koa. Okay, so it is also used in the production of paper. Now apart from these three raw materials, paper is also produced from other materials such as waste paper. Okay, waste paper use kora hoy recycle kori paper produce koribole. Then rags, then straw from rice and wheat, jute sticks and soft wood obtained from the eucalyptus, pine wood, wattle and mulberry leaves. Okay, so these are the raw materials that are used in the production of paper, and based on the availability of these raw materials in that particular area, the industries are developed. Now, apart from the raw materials that are used in the preparation of the paper, there are also some chemicals that are used in this production of paper. Okay, so the important chemicals include caustic soda, then soda ash, sodium sulfate, chlorine, sulfuric acid, sulfur, lime, ferric, alumina, ammonium sulfate, resin and clay. Okay, now the issue is that the excessive use of these chemicals can be detrimental to the environment. Okay, so these chemicals can become pollutants. Okay, so these can become pollutants which may damage the environment, and this is one of the factor that is posing as a challenge for the paper industries in India, as well as the paper mills that are closed in the Assam, right? So this we will see in our upcoming videos. Okay, now the next important factor, okay, or we will say as that these industries are also classified based on the availability of the raw materials. Okay, so this is called as location factor of the industries. For example, we know about the footloose industries. Okay, so if anyone doesn't know about the footloose industries, so these footloose industries are those industries that can be set up anywhere irrespective of their availability of the raw materials. Okay, that means these industries does not wholly depend upon the availability of the raw materials in their close proximity. Okay, for example, the plastic industries. Okay, so these industries, you can transport the plastic from anywhere to these factories. But if we consider those industries, for example, if you consider the sugarcane industry, so these industries are purely based on the location of the raw materials, because this sugarcane is a weight losing raw material. Okay, so if you transport these sugarcanes to some far areas, যদিহে আমি কুঁহিয়াৰখিনি দূৰলৈ ট্ৰান্সপৰ্ট কৰোঁ, তেতিয়া ইয়াৰ যোনটো sucrose level বা যোনটো ইয়াৰ raw materials use হয়, it may lose its weight. Okay, তাৰ কাৰণে যোনখিনি আমাৰ raw material dependent যোনখিনি industries হয়, সেইখিনি industry সদায় raw materialsৰ ওচৰত তাৰ establishment হয়. Okay, similarly আমাৰ যোনটো paper industry, okay, this paper industry is also a weight losing industry. Okay, so you can see here the paper industry is a raw material based industry and use coarse, cheap and weight losing raw materials. Okay, and 6 raw material oriented locations and therefore located near the source of the raw materials in like the forest. Okay, so this is very important from your prelims point of view. Okay, so either question may come, is paper industry is a footloose industry? Answer ki hobo, it is not a footloose industry. In fact, it is an weight losing industry. Okay, based on its raw materials, right? Now, having discussed about the various aspects of the paper industries like raw materials and location factors, there are also some problems that are associated with this paper industry. So the very first problem that this almost every paper industry suffers is the scarcity of the raw materials. Okay, now see, in this present century, okay, more importance has been given towards the environment, right? We often talk about the climate change, we talk about the degradation of the forest, right? Now all this growing consciousness about the preservation of the forest and maintenance of ecological balance is also contributing in the scarcity of the raw materials in the production of these papers, right? Apart from that, other general threats to the industrial sectors like the rise in the interest rate, fear of the rise in the international price of the oil, devaluation of rupee, okay, not only in the home but in the ASEAN countries, general slowdown in the economy are also seen as a threat to the paper industry, right? So we can see that the industries mainly associated with this paper is merged between all these issues, right? Before discussing about the paper industry of Assam, let's see some of the important facts that are important for the prelims. So in Assam, industrial infrastructure is being provided by Assam Industrial Infrastructure Development Corporation, okay, that is AIIDC. Then Assam State Industrial Development Corporation and Assam Industrial Development Corporation Limited. Okay, so these are important from the prelims point of view, right? So keep this in mind. Now see the paper industry in Assam. So paper industry plays a vital role in the industrial development in Assam. The government of India formed the Hindustan Paper Corporation Limited in April 1970 as a centralized agency. This is important for the prelims point. Okay, so when it is formed in 1970. Now the objective of this Hindustan Paper Corporation Limited was of producing and marketing of newsprint. Newsprint মানে যোনখন আমাৰ বাতৰি কাকত print হ'বলৈ যোনটো paper use কৰা হয়, right? That is called as newsprint, as well as writing and printing paper with a view to reduce import of newsprint and to meet the growing demand of the paper in the country. Okay, so to overcome this import dependence, the central government has developed this Hindustan Paper Corporation Limited. Now under this Hindustan Paper Corporation Limited, two paper mills are developed in Assam. That is the Nagaon Paper Mill, okay, which is commonly called as the Jagirod Paper Mill. It was established in the year 1985, and the Kachar Paper Mill in Panchagram in 1981. These all points are important from the prelims point of view. Okay, now apart from this, or before establishing these two paper mills, an Ashok Paper Mill Limited was established in Assam in the year 1971, and in fact it is the first paper mill to be established in Assam. Okay, so this paper mill was established with the joint venture of the Bihar state and the Assam state government, right? Okay, now see, you can see this map here about the location of the paper industries in Assam. Okay, so this is Jagirod. Okay, Jagirod is here, then Sonapur, then in Panchagram, right? Now, although these paper mills have immensely contributed to the economy of the state and also provided employment to a major chunk of the state's population, but unfortunately these paper mills were shut down completely, right? So the Kasar Paper Mill at Panchagram in Hailakandi district was shut down in the year of 2015, and this Nagaon Paper Mill located at Jagirod was shut down in the year 2017. So these highlights some of the severe issues that these paper mills face. Okay, so talking about the issues, if we see the first very reason that led to the shutdown of these paper mills is the massive bamboo flowering in the Mizoram in 2009-10. Okay, so these massive flowering of the bamboos created a scarcity of the raw materials that are needed for the production of paper. Okay, so we have seen why that this bamboo is a very important raw material needed for the production of these papers, right? Apart from that, the non-renewal of the bamboo supply deal by the Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council. Okay, so this is another reason which led to the scarcity of the raw materials for these paper industries, right? Next, the production in both the units of the Hindustan Paper Corporation, that is the Kachar Paper Mill and the Nagaon Paper Mill, have been suffering due to the non-availability of the coal owing to the blanket ban imposed by the National Green Tribunal on the mining and transportation of the coal in the state. Okay, that is from Meghalaya, from where 100% requirement is used to the Kachar paper mill and 60% for the Nagaon paper mill. Okay, so this is also a very important point, okay, which resulted into the closure of these paper mills, right? Apart from that, we have also discussed that apart from the raw materials that are used in the production of paper, some chemicals are also used. Okay, so these chemicals like caustic soda and chlorine plant were considered as a pollutant by the Pollution Control Board. Okay, so closure of the use of this caustic and chlorine plant also led to the shutdown of these paper mills of the Assam. Now, the most important factor that can be said is that both the companies were declared as insolvent on June 13, 2018 as per a National Company Law Tribunal order. Okay, after the Hindustan Paper Corporation Limited had declared itself unable to pay the dues of one of its creditors, that is the alloys and the metals. Okay, so this is the most important factor or most important reason that led to the shutdown of the paper mills of Assam. Okay, now this insolvent, okay, that is caused to these companies raises some serious questions upon the ethics of the or upon the working ethics of these public sector units, okay, or the centralized agencies of these industries, right? So we will discuss this in the next slide. Okay, now when we talk about public sector ethics, we talk about the working ethics of that particular public sector unit, right? What charters are adopted, okay, how accountable are they in their workings, right? So we are talking about these public sector ethics in accordance with those paper mills, because we have seen that these paper mills are declared as insolvent. Okay, insolvent mane unable to pay the debts. Obviously tente tat kisman seriously flaws asil which led to the development or building up of the debts which the company failed to pay, right? Karan, if we see in the history of these two paper mills, that is the Nagaon paper mill and Kasar paper mills, so both these paper mills have 1 lakh ton per annum capacity. It gradually faced closure till a years ago it achieved 100% capacity utilization. Okay, তাৰমানে আমি চাব লাগিব যে যোন দুটা কোম্পানী or যোন দুটা paper mills যাৰ capacity 100% আছিল, and even they received the status of mini Ratna status in 2009. So তেনেকুৱা এটা কোম্পানী কিহৰ মিসমেনেজমেন্টৰ কাৰণে insolvent হিচাপে declare কৰিবলগীয়া হ'ল. Okay, so this is there must be a serious flaw, okay, in the management sector, okay, and it directly indicates about the public sector ethics. Okay, so etu bostu apnaloke use koribo pare in your ethics paper, right? There may be, since in the syllabus already it is given that around 30 to 35% will come from Assam. Okay, so there is a high possibility that some case studies may come based on these two paper mills. Okay, karon ei paper mill kita bondo hoi joa loge loge bohutor employment ho gusi gosil, right? So this has and some serious issues associated. Okay, আৰু এটা irony or the contrary part আমি যদি চাবলৈ যাওঁ is that government এই দুটা paper mill tok unviable হিচাপে declare কৰিছে. Unviable মানে তেওঁলোকৰ এই paper mill গিটাৰ capacity নাই, right? But the irony is that when these paper mills are considered as unviable, at the meantime another private paper mill has been coming up at Goalpara. Okay, private sector paper mill is first coming up at an industrial park in Goalpara. Okay, that means that a private sector unit jodi shut down hoi goise, obviously that government jodi tat ichha kore etuk revive koribo pora jabo, right? Because তাৰ লগত বহুত মানুহৰ এমপ্লয়মেন্টও জড়িত হৈ আছে, right? Many lives are associated with these paper mills, right? So government cannot say that these paper mills are unviable, and in the meantime another private paper mills is also developing, right? So these are the things that must be addressed by the government. Okay, so government should think about reviving these two paper mills, because if we see into the history of these paper mills, they had an excellent history of 100% production. Okay, so if you make this happen, okay, obviously it will be successful again as it was earlier, right? Apart from that, there is also availability of raw materials in our northeastern states, right? আমি জানো যে প্ৰত্যেকৰ ঘৰে ঘৰে বাঁহ থাকে, okay? So if you also cultivate this bamboo, okay, কাৰণ তাৰ commercially যদি আমি cultivate কৰিব যাওঁ bamboo, okay, because bamboo এজোপা যোনজোপা গ্ৰ' কৰিবলৈ ইমানো কষ্ট নালাগে, right? Again তাৰ ৰিজেনেৰেশ্যন কেপাচিটিও বহুত বেছি, okay? তাৰ মানে আমাৰ যোনখিনি নৰ্থ ইষ্টৰ যোনখিনি পেপাৰ ইণ্ডাষ্ট্ৰিজ থাকে, they are mainly dependent on the raw materials like bamboo, okay? Now this, since bamboo is available in the state, okay, so raw materialsৰ অভাৱত বন্ধ হৈছে বুলি হেতুটো ক'ব নোৱাৰি, right? Apart from that, from environmental point of view, যদিহে বেম্বু গছ, okay, বা বাঁহ কেইজোপা যদি সময়মতে কটা নাযায়, then it may cause severe threat to the other vegetations in their proximity, okay? So from both the side, it is an win-win situation. Only it depends upon the government to revive these paper mills, right? So this is the detailed analysis about the various issues associated with the paper mills, as well as with main focus with the paper mills of Assam. So thank you for watching the video.